Greetings, dear viewers. Today I have a poem about Gary Kasparov. The name of the poem is Kasparov and First Championship Preparation. Whenever we are talking about the World Championship matches, we always obviously consider championships that have results. But I've taken a World Championship which was not concluded properly, wherein the World Championship was actually abandoned after 48 games. This the World Championship that I'm talking about is the 1984-85 World Chess Championships, which took place between Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov. Now let us talk about Kasparov's journey to be in this position to compete against the then world champion Anatoly Karpov. Kasparov had a very difficult route in terms of actually reaching this particular position, wherein he was in a privileged position to compete against Karpov for the championships. There were a lot of difficulties that Kasparov went through, not because of his chess. Of course, his chess was already high class, but there were a lot of other political elements that were prepared in a way to ensure that Kasparov would not compete against Karpov. And Kasparov, the true champion he is, was able to, in a way, counteract all these adversaries, and he was able to come up uh, as a winner and face Anatoly Karpov in the World Championship match. This World Championship match of 1984 to 85, it was abandoned after 48 games. It started in the September of 1984, which went on till Feb of 1985, and then it was abandoned. And Karpov was already leading with a score of 5-3, but Kasparov was having the momentum. Kasparov knew that he was in a very good position to actually win the championships. He felt that he had the belief that it was his championship, and the match was abandoned. And Kasparov obviously was furious. There were a lot of chess fans who were actually unhappy about this particular move. But nevertheless, we just have to accept it. Kasparov accepted it, and later he went on to win, and that's a good ending for him at least. This particular championship, I'm the poem that I have written specifically. I'm talking about what kind of preparations did Kasparov make to face Karpov, and the opening ideas, what specifically he had planned, and these kinds of things. So let me quickly take you through that, and then we can go ahead with the poem. This is a position of Queen's Indian defense, and Karpov was already considered as a great master of this opening, and Kasparov's team had prepared well from the white side to actually face this Queen's Indian defense. Next. Now, this is called as neo-scheveningen, basically because of the fact that you push e5, and also it's not a Najdorf because a6 by black is not here. And Kasparov had prepared well with respect to these kinds of lines, and he was expecting to give Karpov some kind of trouble. But Karpov came up with, you can say, minor surprise, because in this position, if you play g4 from the white side, it becomes the Keres attack, and Karpov employs this against Kasparov. Kasparov's team already knew this, that Karpov had already played Keres attack before, and there was a probability. But nevertheless, World Championship, to actually go for something a little aggressive, you might say, not completely aggressive, because one would not expect this specifically knowing Karpov's style. But nevertheless, the team was prepared, but still it was a minor surprise. This is one part of it. And the next one is Kasparov, in a way, had to revert to his favorite Najdorf. So if you play a6 here, it becomes Najdorf variation, and Kasparov used Najdorf variation as well. Now the last one, the important point is, even though Karpov was predominantly one e4 player, he also played d4 in this championships, and he tested the faithful Tarrasch defense of Garry Kasparov. And Kasparov himself agrees that at least for a vast majority, at least the initial phase of the match, he was unable to truly trouble Karpov with the Tarrasch defense. And in a way, you can say that Karpov was quite successful in understanding what Kasparov would actually come up with, and he had also prepared quite well. That is the reason I wrote this poem, because I thought, even though it is the World Championship was abandoned, there are a whole lot of ideas, there are a whole lot of learning, and it gives us a clear indication about who these great champions are, what kind of qualities they were able to exhibit, even though the match did not have any result. So let us get started with the poem. The World Championship match of 1984-85. The expectations were already very high. The first to win 6 games would be crowned, after which glory would surround. The main emphasis from white side was Queen Indian defense. Karpov was a master of understanding this opening's essence. The seemingly tedious positions suited Karpov's style, where he could be decisive yet agile. Catalan and Queen's Gambit were also given due consideration. The main lines were analyzed already to exhaustion, but some bank of ideas in the main lines were prepared. Research into none of the lines were spared. With black, the emphasis was on scheveningen, aided well by Kasparov's clan. Nevertheless, the royal lapis was also researched, ready to be unearthed. Karpov was able to quickly give Kasparov a subtle, unexpected blow. He quickly avoided the scheveningen by employing the Keres attack and made Kasparov think while playing black. Kasparov employed the Najdorf variation, which was his redemption. The less researched line by Kasparov's team was tested, but of course, Kasparov's opening knowledge was not exhausted. Karpov also switched to d4 in the match, testing Kasparov's faithful Tarrasch. Defeats in 7th and 9th game at the hands of Karpov proved that he was unable to power through. Surprises by Karpov in the opening and the further course, where he was able to enforce, proved psychologically difficult for the contender who could not exhibit his skills with his usual vigor. I hope you liked the poem, and if you have already not subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for your time.